Hello everybody, Jack here with another video. So today I decided to do something a little bit different with regard to a Death Stranding video. I didn't want to post like something that I would make out to be a bit too dramatic, but more of just a bit of a light-hearted thing. More akin to something that I used to do for a lot of time. That is a reaction, because I have somehow managed to stay away from watching the Death Stranding Heartman clip that's been uploaded, or spotlight trailer, as they call it. Now, fun little thing is that I've been reading a lot on philosophical stuff, where I came across a lot of themes that Death Stranding might include. But Mr. Rev is one of my favorite directors, actually, which is kind of fun because he's a good friend of Kojima's. Kojima's, who in my previous video I mentioned is an absolutely addict of media, love to consume it, especially movies, and wanted to be a movie director himself. Now, Rev is someone who has made the movie Bronson, if you remember that, and also Valhalla Rising. So, of course, through that he met Matt Nicholson, and they did know each other before in the TV show called Sniffer. But it's not important in this case. But of course, all that brings them all together. So I'm imagining that the final product that they are going to be giving us is something that is done with heart, because these are individuals who know each other and they know how to work with one another. But yeah, without further ado, let's check out what this trailer has to offer. Chopin. That's the funeral theme. Is that the Bridges logo? It looks different to what we've seen before.
No luck. Visit 218,550.
Oh,
Sorry, where were we?
I see.
I may be used to the 21-minute cycle, but for a first-time face-to-face meeting,
What's his heart rate?
there's
76.
just too much to cover in one go-around.
Can't be easy
AED.
living like this.
Yes. And no. Now that I'm acclimated to it, it isn't especially onerous.
That's a defibrillator, I guess.
Medication, pollution, nutrition. Most of life's basic functions fit rather easily into a 21-minute time slot.
He's healthy due to these
Sleep is the tricky one.
handcuff.
And intercourse, I suppose. Verbal or physical. Not that someone in my position has to worry much about either.
Sam is just
Do
there.
you read, Sam?
Bruh.
Listen to music. Watch films. You
I
know,
see some
I keep
interesting books there.
I have a collection of music,
The
television
Rainbringer.
shows, some very interesting short films,
Those,
and
the
stories.
spooks.
Everything consumable within a 21-minute window.
Oh, that's a Charlie Chaplin
That's right,
movie.
Of course. But honestly, the 21 minutes I
Those are
spent
Blu-rays.
here, all
Interesting.
downtime, nothing more. Time spent waiting to go back to the search. My body may be present, but my soul is on the beach. I'm already dead.
Oh, I always love when editors do that. Like, that sudden bass boost is awesome. Okay, somebody returns to the beach, as he calls it. I am so sorry for this being so goddamn dark. Yeah, let's do that. Now, well, where do we go with this? Oh man, this is so good. Now, again, as I mentioned at the beginning, Kojima has this amazing consumption of media. So, through somebody like Mr. Rev here, he gets to just explore that. Now, I did read through the tweet, which is how I got here, that he is somebody searching for his family, his wife and child. can't remember if it was son or daughter, but the child was written in there. But anyways, he has to go through this goddamn process of dying for 21 minutes. It sounds awful though. It kind of sucks. And he investigates the other side for 3 minutes and comes back. So let's do a bit of math, like real quickly. So here from the beginning. Okay, so Heartman listens to Chopin while he's sleeping. I can't remember exactly the name of the song, but I've been to enough burials to know that this is one that is employed during funerals. It does have a name, funeral something, but we're not going to get demonetized for this. Or at least I'm not going to get demonetized for this because classic songs, if I remember correctly, when it comes to copyright, are stuck to between the 70 years time frame. So Chopin died in 1840? I'll say that, around 1840. So yeah, no need to worry. But that's not relevant here. So he dies. Counter goes to 0, 0 until resurrection, excuse me. No, resuscitation. Now he has this thing on that, whatever it is, where it stands, AED. I suppose that is a something defibrillator, automatic defibrillator, something. I don't know what it essentially stands for. Electronic, but it's all electronic. But cardiac arrest, okay, blah blah blah. We see that the damn thing goes to 0, and he wakes back up, gets his pulse, and from the time that his pulse come back, he has to reset the hourglass.
No luck.
Okay, he says no luck, meaning that he probably didn't find anything. Whatever it is that he does for bridges, researching the other side, he's done in there. We see that from his wrist or handcuff there, that I don't know why whomever designed that wanted to be handcuffs, but whatever. Might be something to do with this whole chirality thing that really doesn't make sense though. Oh man, I'm sorry, whenever I see something that is related to one of my studies, concept that I've heard about in there, I'm always so speculative about it. Because this is chirality is a concept, again, of essentially mirror image of how a particle moves when it comes to particle physics. But let's not get into that. It gets too complicated. Even I haven't reached a point where I have to learn about it. But you know, when you come across that in your books, you need to investigate sometimes. But anyways, when he sets off the time frame, so let's do a bit of math. 21 minutes, or like the 60 minutes within an hour, obviously. 140 minutes during a whole day for 24 hours. So the 21-minute time frames give him about 2.85, but let's say 2 times, because 2 times a day that he gets to wander around, stay alive. 2 times per hour, excuse me, that he gets to walk around, and 3 minutes for which he's dead, and he's investigating the other side. Times 2, so 6 minutes, times 24, that's 144 minutes. Hells, so that's more than 2 hours and almost a half minute, 2.5 hours that he gets to investigate the other side. It's not too bad, if you were to ask me. But the thing is obviously the frequency within which all of this happens. But as he states himself, he's acclimated to this state of life, gets to live, do all the thing that he needs within that time frame. Personally, for me, it would not work, but everyone, when forced to live under these conditions might have to adapt.
Visit 218,550.
Now, I have absolutely no idea what those words meant, but back here, something that I quickly noticed was this sculpture. What in the world? I mean, it might be a depiction of those beings that we've seen before. Because we've seen that not only do the BTs have human forms when they drag you down, some of them have the ability to fly. Like those five individuals that we do not know who are yet. My theory so far is that they are Cliff and some of his skeletal soldiers, who might have been people that we might be introduced to the game before the event of the Death Stranding. But yeah, the possibilities are endless. We do not know. It's mostly speculations. So Sam is just sitting there with his BB pod and his whole suit and everything, waiting for him. He probably had like a session where he was trying to inform him of something and then he just died. Imagine having a friend who does that all the time. Yeah, might suck.
Oh, sorry, where were we? I may be used to the 21-minute cycle, but for a first-time face-to-face meeting, there's just too much to cover in one go-around.
Can't be easy living like this.
Oh, that growling voice.
And no, now that I'm acclimated to it, it isn't especially onerous.
And we see his pulse, I guess, that's what it is. It's not brain activity. Pulse of 77 is what average for everyone who's living a sedentary lifestyle, so kind of good. It gets lower the more fit you are because your heart doesn't need to pump so much blood throughout the body. Okay.
Into a 21-minute time slot. Sleep is the tricky one, and intercourse, I suppose.
Obviously.
Verbal or physical.
I suppose.
Someone in my position has to worry much about either.
Quick, interesting thing there. A collection of stones. I don't know. I always have this thing that because I'm always thinking about the previous trailer that we saw. That and the trailer where we see Sam like pull one of his toenails out. Because those are showcasing the world of Death Stranding. From the beach to all the plains that you are going to be walking throughout. And all that scenery reminds me a lot of Iceland. If you've ever been to Iceland, or at least have seen it on TV, on the internet, you can just Google it. It's so damn beautiful, but the one thing that is very marking there is like the volcanic structures. How it is that you have like these black beaches and all the volcanic rocks that are creating some strange sculptures on, on the beaches, essentially. But, I don't know, could the soil have an importance in Death Stranding? Could be like what happens in the heavens, and I'm getting way out of touch here, but let's just keep going.
Do you read that?
Actually, before we move on, this goddamn thing in the background, mountains, knowing mountains. Yes, Captain Obvious, I know. Something that I have been speculating for a long time is where exactly is the Bridges facility located, and how big is the game Death Stranding? Because we do know that it is encompassing something, the United Cities of America. And we've seen in the latest trailer that Bridget, who is the leader of the United Cities of America, but not necessarily the leader of the Bridges organization, which is kind of where I'm sort of split at, but she was sitting in a bed in what looked like, well, the White House that we've seen so many times in movies. I've not been ever there, but that's what my assumption is. Now, the White House is obviously not located in an area where you have snowy mountains. Like, from my knowledge of movies and pretty much just music, from listening to countless hours of country, whenever you mention snowy mountains, it's Montana. So, could they be located in Montana? We've seen times where Sam is walking through snow. And also the fact that the British organizations have like this weird platform where he loads vehicles and they go underground. So could they have built the entire thing kind of like in the case of a fun little thing, because in the case of a disaster like nuclear warfare or whatever have you, cataclysmic scenario, presidents or leaders throughout the world have secured bunkers. And for many of the presidents that have been in the United States, don't quote me on this, I could be totally wrong. Some of them do have some locations within mountainsides where they've built crazy compounds. But of course, this is just a theory, it is not set in stone, because if you consider the logo of the United Cities of America and that of bridges, you can obviously see that ground zero for where the web is spreading throughout the states is located in Maryland, where Washington DC, where we have the Oval Office or the White House, is meant to be located. So yeah, that's also a thing. Or does Heartman have his own secluded location where he is held at? I say held because, well, life like that is similar to prison. But yeah, that's kind of my theory so far. And that will also tie Bridget, who is the president. President of what? I'm always thinking about that. It's so Metal Gear Solid like.
Call me Snake.
But that will tie her to the British organization, and she could most likely be the leader still. So, fun little theory. But again, let's move on.
Do you read, Sam? Listen to music.
Now, I don't know why, there's a lot of copy-paste here. It's fair enough to assume that there would be, but there's a lot that I remarked, I copy-pasted.
You know,
Now here I cannot zoom because this is a YouTube live video, but you can see clearly that you have in here something that says Rainmaker or Rainbringer, and you have the spooks on the side of the books earlier. Yeah, of course later on he showcases this from 20 Minutes of Love, which is a Charlie Chaplin movie. If you, like my parents, are a fan of the whole silent comedy thing, absolutely gold, at least to me. There's nothing that beats that when it comes to comedy, at least. It's just kind of used your brain starting to form your own ideas of what they're saying to each other. That's kind of like the fun thing about it. But it's all this talk about where Chaplin is sitting on the bench meeting a woman, as he so often does, and he's trying to court her. And of course other gentlemen who want to get her attention, and they start fighting for her love, essentially. I don't know exactly why this is the movie that he decided to showcase on, well, beside the fact that this is 20 minutes. Could it be that Heartman did something through his wife? I don't know. Could be. Why would he mention it? Except for the title. Whatever. I'm getting sidetracked here. But when it came to the spooks and the Rainbringer, clear reference to two things. Now, Rainbringer obviously mentions Higgs. That will be the only thing that I will associate to this. Higgs, who can bring the rain, the timefall, controls it. On the other hand, the Spooks, which is a book series that anyone who is kind of a fan of, well, essentially fantasy, will very much love. Excuse me, the camera kind of cut out there for a quick second. Had to put it on charge. It works on both battery and being charged at the same time. But the Waterstone Chronicles are the book collections that the Spooks are part of. Unless there is another Spooks gallery that I'm thinking about. But this one refers to the apprentice of the Spooks. Not the Spooks, but the ward. But this of course refers to a young apprentice who is going to be battling against all types of weird creatures, from ghosts to witches and whatever have you. And he then, well, his destiny is either to save or destroy the world. So, to me, this would be a reference to Cliff, the guy who he's kind of like has a foot in both sides, who's not a villain, but not necessarily a good guy. So that's kind of my look on it. Now, the most interesting thing, of course, is the end.
For the Death Stranding, of course. But honestly, the 21 minutes I spend here, all downtime, nothing more. Time spent waiting to go back to the search. My body may be present, but my soul is on the beach.
Oh man.
I'm already dead.
Man, I want a full version of that song right there. But his soul is on the beach. He's already dead. We've seen that in footage before. Latest trailer, again, referred to that, where we see him being pulled out of the other side, where he was chasing after people. Probably did see his wife and child and tried to call for them, but he didn't hear him and he got pulled back. We didn't see him being dragged by anything specially, but by like some unseen force. Probably his defibrillator knocking him back to life, back to consciousness. So essentially it's like this weird thing of spirit and body. So you can actually enter the other side by dying, and also by going in there physically, because that's what Sam does, right? When he's being dragged down to Hades, his whole body is down there, not just his spirit. Because, and again, that's what we also see, that we have BTs and we have ghosts. BTs do physical things, while ghosts cannot necessarily take physical form. They are ethereals in between both realms. It's so man, this game is amazing already, because it makes you think about so much stuff. Man, I'm so goddamn happy that we get what are essentially art pieces when it comes to gaming. But also, the whole theme of water is something that you will see in especially two cultures. First, you have the Egyptian, which is pretty obvious, as to refer to Higgs, who was wearing those like pharaoh-like attire. And of course, due to the fact that when in Egyptian culture, when you were a peasant and not a pharaoh, because pharaohs did have pyramids built for them, and some of them did have this weird inclined shaft, for which the moonlight will be shining in all the way down to the sarcophagus, because for them they will arise to the heavens and live among the gods, which they didn't, idiots. But for a normal peasant, your life will flow down the Nile, all the way down to hell, where you will be judged by Anubis, where your heart will be measured, valued on the weight on the scale with a feather. That feather tend to be pretty heavy, and depending on the individual, the heart could actually be lighter than the feather itself. And all of that will decide whether or not you went to heaven or hell. On the other side, you have the river Styx in Greek mythology, where you have Styx, actually. Fun fact, that is named after the daughter of Oceanus and Thetis, the goddess of the fresh water. I know. Listen, people, I'm gonna make something really clear. You know how in Doctor Strange, he has this one scene in the beginning of the movie where during surgery he has one of his colleagues like giving him some random songs that he has to name and give the release date. Well, that's kind of how my brain works. It has like a whole storage of needless knowledge, random facts that I absolutely cannot use in my everyday life, but only when I have these weird discussions about stuff like Death Stranding. So I'm pretty happy about this game. I guess that you can understand that why I'm talking about it. But River Styx, again, same concept, which creates like a border between the world of the living and that of the dead, where you throw down that river to either go down to the underworld. So yeah, interesting thing. And that's one of my favorite books, if I may, as a last statement, concerning this is by Francis Fukuyama. If you guys are well aware, if you know the channel called Wisecrack on YouTube, they do sometimes quote some of his things in their videos because it's a lot about philosophy, and this one is too. Not really a subject that is relevant to my life, but I read that as to pass time. Well, this one is called History's End and the Last Human. It goes from the beginning of mankind all the way to what some are depicting as being the end of it. But clearly Francis Fukuyama, like many philosophers, are doing just that, philosophizing, theorizing about how it is that our society is going to evolve. But in here he quotes to another book called The Traitor, where they talk about water. And to that I actually would like to give you one interesting quote. Water is transformation, a step between worlds. In all creeds, water occupies the majority of the earth, also a majority of the mammal body. Water transforms a seed to a tree, and then fruits or vegetables, essential for growth. Water is constant throughout all galaxies, in space, as it can be seen as a medium of light, and transformation of life to texture useful for all humans, useful for all forms of life. So essentially all that to say that in many cultures water is viewed as a sign of life, and tends also to be used as a medium for transformation. So whatever it is that Kojima is intending, using rain as in Sprite the manga, which I cannot quote enough because it's kind of cool what they do in that, or the TV show Rain, but whatever it is that he's intending to use water to and how he's going to explain it is something that I'm very much looking forward to. I have my own theories about it, they are coming in the future, but yeah guys, with that said, I am going to stop this very long video of me just talking about random stuff, and yeah, that's it for my long reaction and analysis of the Death Stranding Heartman character spotlight trailer. Quite a mouthful. But anyways guys, I thank you a lot for watching this video. If you appreciated it, please give me a solid one by giving the video a like, and if you didn't, of course, like some fair criticism, give it a dislike. But with that said, leave your comment in the comment section below, and I see you guys next time. Bye.
The whole wide world will be yours to explore. You'll be able to go wherever you want.